How to leverage AI in real ways right now. My guide to sanity is Hannah Testani. She is CEO of Intelligent Audit. Hannah, hello.
Hi, good to see you again.
Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about something that no one else is talking about, AI, shall we? This just in, there's a lot of hype, right?
There's a lot of hype about AI.
A lot of hype. There are, however, a few ways in which companies are actually using AI and getting real results. Tell me about that. How is that happening?
So, in general, when I think about AI always break it up into two worlds. One is automation, which is actually easier for most companies if you stop using the word AI and just say automation. We've been doing that for 100 years. And that is the easiest ways to accomplish and to weave AI through your organization. But always start small. What it feels like, especially at Gartner, is last year everyone spent so much money thinking about these massive orchestrations and how to use AI to do this end-to-end life cycle fully automated.
Mhm.
We're not there yet. So my suggestion is start smaller, create incremental wins for each team. That way you get winners across every department, and then you can start to use them to teach each other to get actual wins. So for example, from a productivity perspective, you can be using it to automate any job where it is highly repeatable. If it is, if it's the every time this happens, do this or do X, Y, and Z. So there's an SOP. There's a great place to use AI. We're using it to be able to answer emails, which are unstructured in format, to load carrier contracts, to do the auditing. So it can do a lot to just automate people's work and then elevate what they can work on. So it's not automate and fire, but it's automate and now challenge people to solve real problems that they can do now with their brains.
See.
Then there's innovation. And that's where the amount of compute that comes with AI, you just can't get with people, whether it's one person or teams of people. So the two things that we're doing here, one which almost anyone can use today, is create an MCP database. What that means in layman's terms, think about all of where your data lives today. It could be a CRM, order management, customer information. For us, we also use Atlassian products, our customers' actual data, and then bridge them together. You used to have to create these data governance teams where you would have stewards, you create these rules to get data hygiene to where it needs to be. You no longer need to do that. Start with a few databases, connect them together with the use of an MCP, and now you can talk to your data. You can actually have a full conversation with your data where you're talking to each other. So you can, for example, say, connect these databases for me. So for me, I could say, use any customer, figure out their geocoding rules, their SOP, their data. Tell me why they have exceptions. Tell me what the rules should be to avoid them in the future.
Yeah.
So now you create winners everywhere in your organization.
Key there, connect these databases. I take it before that they were all nestled in their own little silos. They were difficult to connect back then to the extent we had the data. We have so much more now because of AI. But the connection part, I think, sounds important to me. You're able to bring it all together into a single repository, right?
Everyone is data rich, but information poor. And that's because we all have these data sets in different organizations and you don't know how to connect them to each other. Simple things like number of items, talking about pallets, SKUs, shipments, everyone speaks past each other. So, what this MCP allows you to do is leverage AI to figure out how to connect the dots. And now, once you've connected it, now you can have incremental wins to get massive wins. So, I wouldn't start integrating every database I have together. Start with two or three: finance, logistics, procurement, connect them together. And you can start with smaller databases that you might have at your own teams,
Mhm.
and then use that to let those teams become experts. And then they get excited. AI is this scary unknown. But if you demystify that and let the team start small, they will have huge impacts and then teach each other.
Yeah, your advice of incrementalism applies really to just about any type of new technology that threatens to overwhelm an organization if, number one, they don't make the business case and apply it to these individual tasks that you're talking about. So that's really good advice. But okay, I'm listening to you. I'm somebody who's adopting AI, but I'm impatient. I want to realize some results like in the next 30 days. So if I'm a business leader doing that, what's a practical way? that I could actually start leveraging AI?
The easiest ways to do that is to use one of the big AI companies. Let's just say it's OpenAI, so ChatGPT. If
Mhm.
you have commercial licenses, and I would not do anything without a commercial license because you have to protect the data that you're putting into it. But let's just say you've set that up for success. You can create prompt libraries. So let's just say you lead procurement at a company. You want to get a big win. You probably have, let's just say, 10 to 20 people. You know what success should look like for your organization in a contract, what you need to be true, whether it's an MSA, an NDA, an SOW. If you go into ChatGPT and you go into the prompt libraries, you can say, I lead procurement for my team. Here's what I want every single time. Take the contract, take the red lines, summarize it with this information. Tell me why the vendor probably did what they did. Suggest how I should respond. And these are my 8 non negotiables. I will never negotiate any of this. So you're creating consistency in your organization. What I would also say is find people in your teams who are comfortable with change because not everyone is. And then let them become the ambassadors. It's one thing when you as the boss say to do something, but when it's your peers saying, "Hey, this is pretty cool. Try this. Take a look at this." First of all, they get so excited. They have passion.
Mm.
When you start leveraging AI and playing with it, you're like, "Oh my god, I can do this and this and this." And that becomes contagious.
Yeah, so on the one hand, you have people, you're looking for people who are naturally open to change. But what you're recommending to us in terms of application also serves to make people open to change because they're seeing real results immediately. They're not getting flooded, they're not getting overwhelmed. So I think that's a really good way. It's kind of a double thing where you get people super excited and then it continues on. Okay, so I think you've referenced some very specific applications here, and I appreciate that. But let me just come back and say, share with me a specific example of AI solving a real operational problem, not a pilot, but something that was actually made to happen in full fledged.
We've been leveraging AI for about 8 years now as an organization. Before it was the sexy buzzword that no one's talking about. What AI does really well is it computes mass amounts of data that no humans can do. Humans need rest, we need sleep, we get tired. So if you think about, you probably use a credit card today, Amex, Citibank, Chase, whoever it is. Think about those times that you've gotten fraud alerts. You know, you were spending 99 cents at a Target in Minneapolis. Can you confirm that? It probably wasn't you.
Hmm.
Those credit card companies are using AI to become an expert at you individually. And then when it cannot predict your shipments, your behaviors, you're getting a text, a phone call, an email, and saying, "Was this you?" And you're saying yes or no. That's it, you're protected. We have that same technology for our customers. Think about our customers, everyone at Gartner. These are large, complex companies. They are all modes globally. How the deep learning models work is it takes the data and it first by itself groups the data into like patterns. Outbound, inbound, probably a store, probably a DC. Within each one of those groupings, it becomes an expert predicting the future shipments. Just like humans with credit cards. Everyone is different. So credit cards have to become experts at every single person. Which means as new shipments flow through our system, if it could not predict the shipment, it's atypical, what we call an anomaly.
Hmm.
What it has caught is tremendous amounts of fraud, a lot of technical issues too. So an API will go wrong. So you use the second, third carrier. So the carrier didn't do anything wrong, but it was the wrong choice. So it finds tremendous amounts of these atypical behaviors, or again, what we call anomalies. And these are issues that we catch for companies that are huge, that have really big fraud teams, logistics teams, because usually these are very micro issues that will have a macro impact eventually. But fraud doesn't grow linearly, it grows exponentially. So when we catch these issues, we're saying, it's a $2 billion shipper and it's $10,000. When we're calling them, they're like, I can't do anything for that. It's not enough money. But now we have the intelligence to say it's $10,000 today.
Hmm.
If you don't fix that next week, it's going to be $500,000
So
to you.
you're arguing that AI is absolutely mature enough at this point to be taking on those big tasks, that it's not all in pilot, that it's already showing promise.
Not large language models. This
Not
is
a lot.
machine learning.
I
So
see.
AI has become bucketed to just large language models. And that's where We're getting to a point soon where it can take mass amounts of data and actually compute. It's not there yet. It's much more conversational, agentic AI. But if you are able to leverage your own deep learning, machine learning models, that's where you're able to actually allow mass amounts of data to compute and find issues that people can't.
Okay. Well, listen, Hannah, I really want to thank you for helping us to see AI in a very clear eyed way. Very hopeful to see that it is showing results, but it has a ways to go. But we're learning a lot about what it's doing now. So thank you so much for being with me as always. I really
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Well, I've been speaking with Hannah Testani of Intelligent Audit. Thank you very much for watching.